Hey everyone, Roy Tsaki here from BizDev Labs. In today's video, I wanted to go over metrics and KPIs. This is specifically for the BDR world, but I think it's also relevant for marketing in general. Now, what this infographic is trying to show you is that leading metrics such as meetings booked is not as important as the number of opportunities, ones that pass the demo stage, that are actually very qualified, that have buying intent, that have spoken to the account executives already, that have brought multiple stakeholders to the meeting. These two differences is what differentiates your company from being successful and not successful. I think most BDR teams in general just look for meetings booked, right? They optimize for leading metrics that don't necessarily mean much. Now, it's cool that you got somebody interested, but is that enough in today's world? And what's important to note here is that you're looking at the funnel, right? So a sales funnel typically looks like the top of funnel, right? So raising awareness, starting conversations, people engaging, reply rates, all these things are cool, but all the way down to the bottom of funnel, which is revenue. So what I'm trying to show here is that the funnel itself is more complicated than just looking at one metric, which is number of meetings booked. And what's more important is actually the conversion in the funnel. So imagine you're building an engine for a car and you're putting fuel that passes through the engine. It might get blocked midway before the finish line, right? So actually giving you the horsepower that you need to continue pushing your car. So it might be very strong at the beginning, but what happens after? And how fast does this propel you to the finish line or where you're trying to head to? That's what I'm trying to show here. And other metrics beyond just number of meetings booked are lead to win ratio and sales cycle length and lead and like average contract value, how big the contract value is to your business and what is the opportunity of closing. Stuff like that, like the brand name of the companies you're selling to, right? Like I would much rather get a contract with Nike than a 200-person company. So there's a big difference. Number of meeting booked on its own is not that interesting. But if I tell you, hey, I booked a meeting with Nike, isn't that a lot cooler? So a lot of people talk about like these meetings booked. I got 5 today on a cold call. Like, cool, I get it. I get that it's nice, but tell me more. Tell me more information. I want to know what else is happening. I want to know what happened after. Why were they interested? How interested were they? How many stakeholders showed up to the meeting? Like these are things we have to start acknowledging and to fight for. Whether that's like the BDR manager and how they train and coach their team, or the sales executives. Like don't shy away from reducing the number of leads if they're not good. Like that's okay. I think a lot of companies are scared to do that because the numbers don't look good. And then when they present it to the board or to their executive team, it seems like they're not doing as good of a job. So equip yourself with other metrics and KPIs and ratios that you can actually talk about. Tell them, hey, I doubled the win ratio. Tell them, hey, our qualified pipeline has went up by a few $100,000, even though our meetings went down. Or, hey, this quarter, we actually closed 3 more deals than last quarter, even though we have less meetings. So equip yourself with the right knowledge and everything will fall into place. I think it'll take time. Buy yourself some time. Tell them, hey, I need 3 months to prove to you that I can reduce the number of meetings while increasing the lagging metrics, which are like qualified pipeline and revenue. And let me show you how to do that. And this is what I'm going to be looking for. These are the metrics I'm optimizing for. I think it's a very important discussion. And most of the conversations I have with SaaS startups, they tell me, hey, we want 15 meetings a month or 20 meetings a month. Every startup I talk to does that. But then you ask them, okay, but how many of those meetings are actually qualified? And then they tell you 50%. So actually, it's 7 meetings, qualified meetings a month. Then you ask them, how many opportunities come from those 7? And then they say 1. Right? And how many opportunities close? And they tell you 30%. So now you're seeing that they need to book 15, right? A month. So they book like 50 to 60 to 70 meetings. then half of them are qualified, then 4 or 5 opportunities, then 30 of it closes. So they close 1 or 2 deals from like 60 meetings. Is that what you want? Is that what you're fighting for? I much rather have just 5, 6 opportunities and from 5 to 6 meetings, like 100% conversion in the funnel. Way more efficient, same results, but you're hyper focused, you're very narrow. And yeah, that's basically like the trick is getting to opportunities, like push for opportunities. That's opportunities. You already know what your closing rate is, right? An account executive that looks at an opportunity knows there's a 30% chance of closing, but at a meeting, they have no idea how to benchmark that. It can go in any direction. It can change substantially. And we're looking at predictability here. Like, can you predict how much revenue you're going to do? And you cannot predict how much revenue you're going to get from meetings, at least not that well, or it doesn't scale. If you want to close more deals, you'll have to double or triple the amount of meetings you're already getting, which is already 15 a month. So then you need 30, then 45, then 60. That's a crazy challenge for anybody. And then you're stressing your entire BDR team. So you can see how this goes into like this hamster wheel, this like friction and resistance. So reduce your number of meetings, increase the number of opportunities, look for other metrics. This is what I'm going to leave you off with today. But I think that's why this like infographic is very important. And a key takeaway is opportunities is all that matters for your business. Everything else falls into place afterwards.